So you might already be familiar with Nomos Club, the German watchmaker brand responsible for the popular Tangente, Zurich World Time, and the subject of today's Clicky Bezel episode, the Club Sport Neomatic. The Club Sport Neomatic hails from the broader Nomos Club collection and is a newer offering from the brand. It joined the Nomos lineup in 2018 and introduced us to a few firsts from the German watchmaker, including the first Nomos watch water resistant up to 300 meters. At 42 millimeters in diameter, the inaugural model is also quite large and features a date mechanism at the 3-hour marker. Now Nomos is slightly scaling things down with its new 37 millimeter model with an attractive time-only dial and 200 meter depth rating. I just received this 37 millimeter model in the mail, and I've got to say, I personally love this edition of the Nomos Club Sport. It features a thin Nomos Neomatic movement for a supremely comfortable wrist wearing experience, and is just a really attractive watch. A great all-arounder from one of the brand's most affordable men's collections. I appreciate a clean time-only dial, so the new 37mm model really speaks to me. With the 37mm edition, Nomos also added 2 more dial colors to the Club Sport Neomatic line, Polar Blue and Petrol Green, which you can see here. The sunburst green dial strays a little bit from Nomos' penchant for vibrant and matte colors, but I like the understated green dial. It's on trend and plays with the light really nicely as I move around my wrist. The small seconds register features a subtle circular texture, and the hour markers appear to be recessed ever so slightly and then filled with lume. Small details any watch enthusiast can appreciate. Looking at the case, it is remarkably thin, 8.4 millimeters to be exact. And although the case is 37 millimeters in diameter, it wears slightly larger than the measurement would suggest, with a generous lug-to-lug measurement of around 47 millimeters. Now this isn't unusual for Nomos, but the way the lugs stick out might be an issue for smaller sized wrists. The lugs for me, however, don't really bother me on my 7¼ inch wrist. What really surprised me though, was the fact that the new Nomos Club Sport Neomatic is water resistant up to 200 meters, despite having a non-screw down crown. That detail makes the case all that more impressive. Flipping the case over, we have a nice view of the caliber DUW 3001 automatic movement through the transparent case back. It's beautifully decorated, complete with blued screws and skeletonized rotor. The caliber DUW 3001 also has Nomos' swing system and a relatively modest 43-hour power reserve. For how thin this movement is, I think we can forgive Nomos for not giving us a longer power reserve. And of course, we can't forget that this caliber was the inaugural Nomos Neomatic movement, Neomatic being the name given to the brand's collection of ultra-thin in-house movements, which debuted back in 2015. Getting into the fit and feel, this watch really does become one with the wrist. The movement alone is just 3.2 millimeters thick, which allows the case to maintain a profile that clocks in at just 8.4 millimeters. That's pretty sleek for a mechanical movement produced in-house. In fact, Nomos describes the movement as unusually slender and wonderfully elegant. Each are sentiments that I can certainly get behind, especially now that I've experienced the watch on the wrist myself. I'm not impressed with the oyster-style bracelet though, more specifically the clasp, which I found to be a bit quirky because it opens out towards you rather than away from you like I'm used to with other watch brands. I'm not sure why they chose to design the clasp that way. I found it a little disorienting initially, but it certainly wouldn't deter me from wearing the watch altogether. I also wish that Nomos would have given the clasp a matte finish rather than polishing it, because for me, the clasp gets the most cosmetic wear on my wrist. The same can be said about the polished lugs and center links. Nomos markets the Club Sport as a sports watch you can dive with. For me, I feel like a brush finish would have been the way to go. But still, the polish bits look really nice on this Nomos. Critiques aside, I must admit that the bracelet suits the overall sporty aesthetic of the watch really well, and connects to the case really nicely. The links are smooth and sit flush against the wrist, and features satin outer links and high polished center links. With all that said, who is this watch for? The Nomos Club is a great entry point for anyone looking to start their luxury watch journey or even diversify their growing watch collection. It's one of the brand's more affordable men's model, with this 37mm watch retailing for around $3,500. And while the Club Sport fills Nomos' sports watch void, one could argue that the Neomatic is similar to a traditional dress watch with its modest size and weight, time-only dial, and crown sounds guard. It would even be a great alternative to similar watches from other brands, such as the Rolex Oyster Perpetual or even the Omega Aquaterra, because it adheres to the similar straightforward aesthetic. And like Rolex and Omega, an in-house movement powers the Club Sport Neomatic. Overall, if you gravitate towards understated and versatile watches, the Nomos Club Sport Neomatic is certainly worth considering for your next luxury and watch investment. Well, that's it for this one. I know it's been quite some time since I've released a video for you guys, and hope this review helped with your Clicky Bezel fix. I'm always looking for topics on videos you might find interesting, so be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you want to see next. Until next time, this is Chris from Clicky Bezel, and I'll see you on the next one.